of the most popular casino table games in the world, blackjack. Don't Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're landing me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, September the 8th, 2025. I'm Jeff Parles. Happy to be with you this morning. Boy, what an insane weekend it turned into across the football landscape. Alex White is here, as she always is, and joining us on Mondays every single week now to recap what happened behind the counter. Our good friend Chris Andrews, who is rubbing it in my face with his shirt today.
I didn't mean to rub anything.
I'm joking. Which, of course, the lowest total on the NFL board almost doubles the total in the end, which we'll get to that game in a minute. But, Chris, I know yesterday was not the greatest of days for you behind the counter, but in the end, still a good weekend across the board.
And we're doing okay for the weekend. Yesterday was no good as far, we get middled on the Buffalo game.
Yeah.
We got middled on the Denver game. Otherwise, mostly favorites in the money line favorites. And you can see we got multiple cards in the jackpot card going to both teams tonight.
Yeah.
Multiple.
How many
I
are
don't
left?
have the exact, but there's a lot.
But it's undefeated. You have cards that are undefeated so far. Okay, because somebody did ask that.
Yeah, that was a pretty good board to go undefeated with the way that it went out, especially since the only two closing underdogs that won were the Bills, which was essentially a pick 'em game,
pick all week,
and the Raiders, which you always get plied on Raider action anyway.
And they were only 2.5 3-point dogs, so there was no big upsets or anything like that. So, but that'll tell you how we did for the weekend. We had 2 10-teamers hitting the parlay cards.
Oh boy!
And what do you do?
What do you have? Nothing. Look, Vinny said this plenty of times. You're going to get beat sometimes. You shake their hand and let them come back next week.
I was saying, what would you do if I'd pat you on the back and say, I'll see you next week?
Yeah, 100%.
Total-wise had to help a little bit, right?
Yeah.
A lot of under, so maybe against the public anyways in that regard.
Yeah, that helped a little bit. A lot of guys knew defense was ahead of offense week one, especially the way the preseason worked. How many good quarterbacks never even took a snap? Quite a few. So I think it showed a little bit too. I really do. Well, I'm not sure what the exact formula should be for that, but they should probably play some.
So let's go. Let's go to Friday first, because that was a pretty significant result that we haven't been on the air since. And Chris, the Chargers controlled the whole game against Kansas City. I know it got tight at the end, but as good of a Justin Herbert performance as we've seen in his NFL career, he outplays Patrick Mahomes, who I thought Mahomes played great in that game as well. And the Chargers get the win in Brazil, 27-21. That was one of the few overs, ended up sneaking over by a half a point. But that was a pretty seismic result, at least for the AFC West picture, where Kansas City is the only team that lost in that division this weekend.
Well, I said it on the air Friday. I said I think Kansas City's going to have a down year. I don't know if that means 9 or 10 wins, but I think they will be down from what they've been. And I thought that it would, and I remember saying exactly, it's going to start tonight. Chargers are going to beat them. I'll tell you what I was really impressed with. Herbert played terrific. I love the adjustments that Jim Harbaugh made at halftime. He knew they were loading up against the run. Jim Harbaugh's been a running coach ever since he started University of San Diego. But he saw a flaw in the defense, and he had the right quarterback to exploit it, and he did. So I give a lot of credit to Jim Harbaugh. And not much to John Harbaugh, but we'll get that later.
We'll get there. We'll get there for what was just stunning is the only word I can come up with in Western New York, but we'll get to that in a moment. One other note from that Chief Charger game, Xavier Worthy dislocated his shoulder on the third snap of the game. Yeah. That definitely changed things. Absolutely. And for Kansas City, who's already without Rashee Rice for the first 6 weeks, throwing to Thornton, just not a lot of options for KC. That noise, Tyreek Hill. That noise is going to come up, especially
I think
if
a lot of
Miami
noise is going to come up
to play as poorly as they did yesterday. As we all expected, Chris, the highest scoring game of the early window, and actually the whole afternoon until Sunday night, was the Jets and the Steelers, as we all expected. A sub-40 total that almost went over in the first half. Yeah. Steelers come away with the win 34-32. Here's my question for you, Chris, more so than anything with this game, because Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdown passes and then very much opened his mouth after the game. How much of that do you think is that Rodgers still can really play? And how much of that was that the Jet defense just had no idea what they were looking at yesterday?
I think my takeaway is Rodgers can still play. And, if you look at the last half of last year, it took a long time for him to recover from that Achilles. And, that not that they rushed him back. I mean, he was ready to play, but he wasn't ready to play at 100%. But by the end of the year, he was playing very well. And that carried over into this year, and he looked really good yesterday. But that being said, boy, I'm worried about that Steeler defense. They ran it right down their throats, And I know that I do expect the Jets to be improved. The one thing we said was a big part of their improvement was going to be the offensive line.
Looked good yesterday.
Looked great, and I'm hoping maybe that Hayward stuff that he didn't re-sign until maybe that had something to do with it. But I'm worried about that Steeler defense.
I really like the trade there with the quarterbacks. I think they both look much better in those places, right?
They did. Fields played well.
Fields played very well. And when we talked about how the Jets could be sneaky because it is the Bills' division right now, but everybody was so high on the Patriots, and You called the Dolphins maybe having a
One
collapse
game, but it
this
was
year.
ugly for Miami
It
yesterday.
was pretty bad.
They were
yeah.
team 32 well, we haven't seen the last two yet, but they're team 30 of the 30 that have played so far this weekend. With how poorly they played Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina was bad. I thought the Saints actually were okay.
They
They looked fine.
They were
They had a chance
okay.
to tie the game late.
Yeah, I mean, I lowered the hell out of the Dolphins in my power ratings because really every sharp guy I talked to in the preseason was telling me how bad they were going to be. And I always said, you never know. I mean, all these things, I mean, as a bookmaker, you always try to be as objective as possible. But objectively, they looked awful yesterday.
Well, real quick, Daniel Jones. Yes, Daniel Jones. Remember, this is a franchise that had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck play quarterback for the two of them for a combined 20-plus years.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones did something that neither of those guys had ever done, and that's score on every single possession in the game.
Yeah. They had a guy named Unitas, too.
Yeah,
way
Unitas,
back
too,
when.
yeah. Even. So pretty darn good history in Indianapolis, and none of those guys ever did that. I want to wait and see on Indy. I want to see what they do against a team that is not a disheveled mess like Miami. One last note on the Jets and the Steelers real quick, though. If the Jets can get 75% of what Justin Fields was yesterday, the Jets are going to be a team that I don't know how many games they'll win because their schedule's really difficult early, as we talked about. But they're going to be a team, if you see them in December, you're going to be like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's not an easy game for us in December if we need the games.
Starts at the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And I think the Jets, well, not so much on defense, but their offensive line, I thought we were optimistic going into this year, and I think they showed that.
I thought the Jet front four played well yesterday. Their secondary, other than Gardner, was a joke. That was the reason Pittsburgh and Rodgers, I thought, played as well as they did yesterday. Yeah. Also, Chris Boswell's a cheat code. Cheat code. Because he called him a serial killer. And he's right.
Well, yeah,
he's right.
He's been that for close to 10 years now.
Chris, I was watching yesterday, and I was visiting our friend Kaluch up at the Rampart, and the guy next to me is like, "Oh, he's not making this kick." I'm like, there is a 100% chance he's making the 60-yarder. And that thing was good from 66.
It yesterday. Really was, yeah.
Let's go to Green Bay next.
Okay.
Very disappointed in Detroit. They look like a team that was with new two-play callers on each side of the ball. And, well, Green Bay didn't have to do much of anything in the second half, but while they were playing full bore in the first half, that was as good as Jordan Love's looked in the NFL, especially last year where he had his struggles. Green Bay easy covers a 1-point closing favorite.
I had my questions about Jordan Love, too. Again, trying to be as objective as possible. Thought maybe the hype got ahead of the performance. But yesterday, he looked fantastic. He really looked as good as any quarterback playing yesterday, except for maybe, the two guys that played last night. And that defense, I think, was just superb. It was tremendous last year. I think, what were they, like the fourth best defense in the league last year? And then you add a great player, even though he played probably about half the snaps, I guess, something like that. I didn't see the exact statistics. Their defense looked great, but on the other side of the ball, Detroit was known to throw the ball down the field. And I think I saw a thing, they had one pass over 20 yards yesterday. That's not Detroit, and they have a lot of talent on offense. They did not exploit it, and we'll find out a lot more about Ben Johnson tonight as a head coach, but certainly as a play caller and as an offensive coordinator, he looks like he's going to be sorely missed. And defensively, I don't know. There's a lot of questions. Glenn, I mean, obviously did a terrific job. He landed with the Jets, but looked like a team that they took a big step down with their coordinators.
Well, for the changes, right, it is definitely going to take some time, and they just were given no favors here, starting off right in Lambeau, going up against a division opponent, and now they have another one. So we'll see how the Bears look tonight, but then they have to face the Bears right after. So it could be a tough go for the Lions if they get out 0-2 in division. You
know what the most alarming thing was for Detroit yesterday? Their running backs, Montgomery and Gibbs, who we know how good they are. We know how great that O-line is. They had 34 combined touches yesterday. One play over 10 yards.
Yeah, I think as far as running game goes, I mean, last year we thought maybe the best in the league combined, with play calling and performance, et cetera, et cetera. But, boy, they did not look good yesterday.
I mean, Gibbs had 9 carries for 19 yards and 10 catches for 31.
Yeah.
Totally under wraps. Very impressive from Green Bay yesterday.
Yeah, Green Bay was
in a 2-touchdown win. All right, let's get to the doozy.
Okay.
Chris, Baltimore is up 40-25 with under 4 minutes to go. Oh, and by the way, Buffalo's only stopped them once through the whole game.
Yeah.
Buffalo gets a miraculous touchdown on a deflected ball on fourth down to make it 40-32. And then Derrick Henry puts the ball on the ground. And by the way, this is after Derrick Henry, who, again, I know Tennessee was never going to pay him, but boy, every time I watch him, it's like, we really let him go to Baltimore? Like, we really let him go, like, the league really let him end up in Baltimore. Henry, by the way, had 18 for 169 and 2 touchdowns, but he put the ball on the ground, which led to the Buffalo touchdown that made it a 2-point game. Buffalo missed three 2-point conversions. But Chris, that last play calling sequence from Baltimore was absurdly bad.
Listen, I needed Buffalo. It was a weird situation because, one was a very bad number for us. I can tell you that. But I kind of needed Buffalo. I had them as one of my picks, so I was kind of rooting for them. But right then when they lined up to punt, I remember I'm sitting there with my wife. I says, they absolutely should not punt this ball.
Yeah.
And the sign was, well, if they didn't make it, Buffalo's almost in field goal position. Yeah, but Buffalo hasn't stopped them all night.
Right.
Geez. And we were another thing we were talking about, Christian McCaffrey, who was questionable going in. We were saying, he was like the star of the day. Oh, wait a second. Derrick Henry had yet to show up. And then the 2 quarterbacks, of course, too. But Henry played a great game. He had that fumble that, listen, it cost him the game. It could cost them the season. Right now it looks like whoever's going to play for an AFC championship is going to have to go to Buffalo in January.
That's not
easy. That ain't going to be easy. I don't care. And I know Baltimore's probably built for bad weather as well as any other team. But I told you, Buffalo and Denver have my 2 highest rated home field advantages.
What is it about this Ravens team and their play calling decisions when they do have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? And I don't know. I don't see it like you do with Andy Reid or even Bill Belichick, years ago. But when they get a lead, they knew what to do to hold that lead. But we've seen John Harbaugh blow it a few times with double-digit leads.
I think you and I are about to say the same thing. Yeah. There is something with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we look at him as this high-end coach. He's won a Super Bowl. Yeah. But in this era, and here I got a few numbers real quick on this game that are ridiculous.
Go ahead. I want to hear them because I have a few thoughts on this too.
So teams that score 40-plus points and have 235 rushing yards in a game going into last night were 277-0. They're now 277-1.
Okay.
Baltimore, since the beginning of the 2021 season, have lost 8 games when they've had a win probability of 90% or more. The next closest is 3. Buffalo was the first team in NFL history to be down by 15 or more points with 4 minutes to go in the game and win in regulation. And the last one, teams that were trailing by 15 or more points in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter before last night were 3 and 2,312 since 2000.
Okay, you have all the numbers. Can't dispute the numbers. Numbers are telling a huge story. I'm going to go more, I guess, psychologically.
Please.
Okay. But I think John Harbaugh is one of those old school coaches. We're going to play defense and run the ball. Okay, that's great. This NFL is a little different, though. And I do think run the ball and playing defense is the way to win games. But a lot of times in that fourth quarter, you got to open up a little bit. And he's got 2 of the best offensive players in the league. Yeah. With Jackson and Henry. And he kind of keeps them under wraps a little bit. Like I said, he's playing a little too conservative. And this is something that, it didn't just rear its head last night. It's something that's been an issue for a while. I have a friend of mine, one of my best friends, college roommate, who actually met John Harbaugh and says he's a total jerk. And he was so happy. We were texting each other this morning. He was so happy that they blew that game. And I had one number. I can't remember. One of those that you had
one of
just
those
repeated.
insane ones, yeah.
I sent that to him, and he says, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He can't stand John Harbaugh. But, I think that's it. I think really his mentality is, really that defensive-oriented style of play that's going to win you a whole bunch of games. But you know what? It's going to lose you a few, too, along the way.
And they have. And, again, it just feels like in these huge spots, Lamar Jackson's an all-time regular season quarterback. What's
he got, 2 MVPs?
He's 2 MVPs. This is over the last 5 years, if you go off DVOA, they're through the roof compared to everybody else. And They have one AFC Championship game appearance to show for it in this era, and it's just stuff like that. By the way, you made the point earlier. I was screaming at the television, go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it on that 4th and 2 at the end.
You needed Baltimore.
No, I needed Buffalo, but they had 3 timeouts too if they get stopped.
Right.
Buffalo, do you really think Buffalo's stopping them on a 4th and 2 in that spot anyway? Probably not.
I didn't think so.
And if all 3 timeouts, you know what? Buffalo's already in field goal range. They're going to be much more conservative with their play calling. There's a real shot you get the ball back.
Yeah.
So
right, with 3 timeouts.
With no timeouts and a minute to go. It's just stunning.
You have to have a play in your back pocket for either one of those 2 guys 100%. To get you a couple yards, don't you?
You would imagine.
I would think.
Let's quickly move over to college, starting with the early game that was, of course, naturally landed 3 with Iowa State and Iowa.
Oh, yeah. You can see that coming the whole way.
Well, it was, you know what? As soon as Iowa got that touchdown at the end of the half to make it 13-10, it was like, all right, well, this thing's landing 3 more likely than not, and it's probably not going to be more than 7 points in the second half, and it was 6. Credit Iowa State. They won a rock fight. They're 3-0. The Big 12 looks wide open, especially after Arizona State went down to Starkville and lost, especially after K-State looks like a team that we might be lucky to go 500.
We overrated them.
This league looks wide open, and credit to Iowa State for getting it done, winning by 3.
I got to tell you what, though, I was impressed with Iowa. Their offensive line, I thought, really started controlling that game. And, it's a very typical Kirk Ferentz team. They are going to be methodical, run the football like, we just talked about John Harbaugh. They're going to win a lot of games like that. They got a really interesting game this week against Massachusetts. My power ratings came to like 42 or something like that.
Iowa score 42?
That's what we were laughing. If they played Des Moines High, they might not be 42. But anyway, we opened it up. What did we open it? 34. The paint wasn't dry on the board, and they laid me the 34. I'm at 35 and a half, I think, on that game. So, anyway, they're playing Massachusetts, who
they lost to Bryant this past week.
I think at this point in time, they're my lowest-rated team.
Oh, they hopped Kent State.
They did. Kent State
scored 14 points.
They scored twice against Texas Tech. Yeah.
Another one that was
mine are very, very close, but I thought that as I was adjusting, I was like, "Ooh, am I dropping UMass lower than Kent State?" It was on my mind. So
they scored 2 touchdowns. That was 2 more than we expected.
Who did Mass lose to?
Bryant.
The
football power of Bryant.
Yeah.
Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Mass right now is my lowest rated team.
One other one I want to hit. Big 12 team involved was just a totally batty game, and that was Baylor and SMU.
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't know how the hell Baylor won that game, but they found a way to do it in double overtime.
That was one of my losers.
48-45. I know that their defense needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
But, boy, if Baylor can pop a 10-win season somehow, Sawyer Robertson deserves to be in the Heisman conversation. He has been stellar through 2 games.
Yeah, another well-coached team, too. Let's give Aranda some credit. I mean, he's, that team was on the ropes, I thought. I had SMU. I gave that out on the show. Or actually, I gave it out on Twitter. I had a 2-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Just thought I had the right side, but, blow it in overtime. And, but I was impressed with the fight that Baylor had in them, that they just kept coming back. I thought I had them on the ropes. I thought I had them down.
You had them dead 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, they kept coming back.
And Kevin Jennings was awesome, too. That's the other thing. I mean, a little alarming for SMU that they lose that type of game where Jennings plays as well as he did, and they're up 14 with 7.5 minutes to go.
Takeaways about SMU, though, because some people did ask me, like, how do you switch, and I feel like I kind of talked about it on Friday, but because I was all over Baylor in the first game, but my number still said SMU, lay the points. I think it was the right side. I really don't regret that bet, and it could have gone either way, but I just think both teams are pretty good.
Yeah, it was one of those two at the end of the game. It's not, I lost, obviously, but I'm thinking, they played again. I think I'd lay the 3 again,
I would bet the over regardless of what the total was.
Me and Vinny were laughing, though, on Saturday. I said, Vinny, remind me next year to empty my 401k and bet under on the Iowa State game.
Yes, I agree with you.
Because, it's never going to go over. They'd have to play a doubleheader to go over.
It might not get there anyway. Especially it was 42, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's still 29. Unranked game, but this is one that involved, look, I got to bring it up. Mizzou and Kansas, which was a really good game.
Terrific game.
Look, the final score is not indicative of what it was. 42-31, Mizzou somehow manages to cover the game.
Yeah.
That was a dead even game. Those are two really good teams. And, boy, the Penn State transfer, Bo Pribula, has looked outstanding through 2 games for Mizzou.
I raised them both in my power ratings.
I agree with you,
thought
Chris.
Kansas. And going into the game, I made I think I talked to you. I kind of liked Missouri. I made them a 6.5 point favorite, even though I kind of like Kansas, coaching wise, especially. But I was very impressed with both teams. Yeah, so I raised both teams in my power ratings. Yeah, these are 2 pretty good teams. Yeah, and Kansas, of course, we haven't heard the last of them in that Big 8.
No,
they're alive in the Big 12.
Big 12.
Yeah, no, it's Big 12. You know, Big 8
I'd say
times
Southwest Conference when I was talking about Texas Tech.
But Alex, you and I talked about this all offseason. Mizzou was in the sweepstakes for Miller Moss, who went to Louisville. Louisville was vastly unimpressive on Friday night against James Madison. They ended up winning through their defense more so than anything. And didn't love Bob Chaney changing the quarterbacks in and out. But Mizzou seems to have gotten the right guy in Pribula instead of Miller Moss.
I loved him at Penn State.
Yeah.
But
he's very tough.
Hard to get on the field, though, with Aller.
Well, for something a little bit different now, how about lowering a power rankings of a power conference team? And that's the Florida Gators, who that line didn't move at all week. It moved pretty quickly at the open of 17.5, moved to 18, was stuck there the whole week, closed 18. And South Florida was the right side the whole game, and the Bulls steal the damn thing at the end to win 18-16. Chris, here's Florida's next. Florida's next 6 games.
Yeah.
At LSU, at Miami, Texas, at A&M, Mississippi State, which doesn't look like a rollover anymore, and Georgia in the cocktail party.
Yeah.
Good luck, Billy Napier.
Well, there's a lot of rumors out that Napier wasn't going to make it to the LSU game, but they kept him, at least so far. It's only Monday, so who knows? But yeah, that was one of those. We talked about it because the move early was on Florida, but no money ever showed on the dog. And I remember saying, well, I made it 17. It's not like I was, thought it should be pick'em or anything. I made it 17, but it just came up. They moved on it. They moved on the favorite. Money never really showed on the dog. But it was evident from early on. The dog with those kind of points, that was going to be, I wasn't sure they were going to win the game outright, but it was pretty obvious they were going to cover.
It was just such a tough spot, right? South Florida coming off that big win over Boise. So you wanted to take it as a potential look ahead for Florida, but you didn't know if it was a letdown for the Bulls. But, Alex Golish's team looked great. And now they have 2. Boise was ranked going into that game, right? So they are
the only team in the country with 2 top 25 wins, and they'll have a chance at the 3rd this weekend. They're in Miami, South Florida. So, look, at a bare minimum, they put themselves in a position where you win the American Athletic Conference, you can make the playoff. You say the very least. Tulane was pretty unimpressive in their win against Alabama.
And that was another one. That money poured in on Tulane.
Late too.
And I remember saying I liked them, but I thought the number was high at 10. I'd made it like 7. And then we wound up closing 13 or 13 and a half.
I got 19 and a half in game in that game.
Really? We got flooded with Tulane.
It was in game. Now Tulane went down quickly and then battered them for the middle 2. And then the game, I think they won by 2 points.
They won by 2,
Didn't matter what number you got. That was an in-game number, that 19 and a half. It was not a pre-flop.
No.
13 and a half, I still think.
13 and a half is what we closed.
Yeah. Crazy. Tulane, by the way, has Duke, who lost to Illinois on Saturday. Last one, Oklahoma.
Turnovers,
100% on the Duke end.
Too trendy.
Oklahoma beats Michigan. What did you do with these teams after the fact? Because I thought Oklahoma looked good, but I don't think they look quite as good as everyone seemingly thinks they did. And Michigan looks like a team with a freshman quarterback that the coaching staff doesn't trust yet.
Yeah, I don't think I changed the power rating on either one of them. And Oklahoma, when I do my home fields, I think they're tied among a couple other teams with the highest home field advantage. So I made the number 6.5. We wound up closing at either 4 or 4.5. I forget.
Sure.
So money showed on the dog. I think Oklahoma was the right side, but not glaringly so. I got to tell you, I kind of like Temple this week against Oklahoma.
I agree.
That's a big number. And I'm telling you, they're a different team on the road. And who the hell scheduled Oklahoma at Temple?
That was the first question I asked my dad yesterday. It's like, why the hell is Oklahoma play? Now it's an NFL stadium, sure, but what are we doing here?
Okay. You know, I
mean, Kristen, you know, Oklahoma's a huge alumni base in Philadelphia.
I did not know that. I got to tell you. As soon as I'm doing my numbers, Oklahoma's at Temple? What the hell? I thought maybe they made a mistake on the schedule when they sent it to me, you know. Well,
and it's a noon kick in Philadelphia, too. That's a weird sleepy spot if there's ever been one.
I'll tell you, I mean, listen, I'm not going to tap out on it because it is Temple. But I think Temple with the points right now is definitely on my list of possibilities.
Who's up next? Is this a sandwich spot?
It's a bad sandwich spot.
Okay.
It's a home game next week.
Right.
But old friend Jackson Arnold comes a-calling with Auburn. So,
okay.
Very bizarre sandwich spot here.
I'm telling you, I think, you go from Michigan, Auburn up next. I think, come on. These are 18, 19-year-old kids. You think they're going to we got to go out and beat Temple, boys.
Got to do it for the city of Philadelphia, Chris. Yeah. By the way, bad job of scheduling by Oklahoma because the game after Auburn is Kent State. They needed to flip those two.
Yeah.
Chris, before we let you head up back upstairs, what do you got tonight? What do you got tonight with Chicago and Minnesota? Fun game to close out week one.
I got no opinion. We're really pretty even on the game. I think it's going to be a terrific game. You got essentially a rookie quarterback for Minnesota that everybody's really high on, and you have a coach for Chicago that everybody's really high on. So I think we have a chance to find out a lot tonight about the coaching staff. For both teams is good. I think the potential for both quarterbacks really is terrific. And let's just see who plays better tonight. But I don't know. I have no opinion at all.
Alex and I will preview the game next. Right now, Chris and company have it 1.5 Minnesota. That is a favorite flip from the opener in the summer, but it's been pretty much stuck at Minnesota 1.5 for about a month. Yeah. So there you go. Fun game. I'm with you. This is a great week.
I got to go back to work.
Got to send you back upstairs. Chris Andrews, everyone.
Okay.
All right.
See ya. Good luck. Have a great show.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break ourselves. Our preview, Bears Vikings, when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Sports by the Book.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Big thanks to our guy, Chris Andrews, as always, for getting it done here on the show here today. And Alex,
so much fun recapping.
always a fun time. And, We got one more game left this week. We got one more game left, and this is a super fun game tonight where there is a lot of unknown for these two teams. We can talk all summer. I can say the Bears are going to win the NFC North this year as the long shot, but we don't know anything still. We have a first-time head coach in Ben Johnson on the side of Chicago. Caleb Williams coming off a rough rookie year. It is a new look roster for Chicago. I thought they had a great offseason, even though I would have liked them to totally figure out left tackle. And J.J. McCarthy makes his first NFL start for the Minnesota Vikings, who are coming off a magical 14-3 year. Even though it ended with a thud, no one expected him to have the year they had a year ago, Alex.
Nobody did, that's for sure. But now I just think the market is a little too high on Minnesota going into the year where we do have a lot of unknowns with J.J. McCarthy now taking over. I don't have a strong opinion. I'm leaning towards the Bears here, getting that 1.5. I think they could get this first win at home. And I really dove in. I wanted to see because, you know, we talk about Brian Flores and him running the defense over there in Minnesota. And last year, I mean, a lot of their success did have to do with that, right? They confused a lot of offenses and he blitzes a lot and makes it tough on these quarterbacks. Well, Caleb Williams played pretty darn good against his defenses last year, and that was without Ben Johnson, who, comes over from the Lions, another team in this division who knows his defense pretty well as well. So that kind of all leads me to the Bears here, and especially with a rookie going on the road in a place like Chicago. So, yeah, I mean, really just looking at the numbers, no interceptions in the two games. He had 340 yards in the first one, which was an overtime game, and Vikings did win that one 30-27. Second game, a little bit tougher at Minnesota, 30-12 Minnesota win there. But yeah, I know you like the Bears on the season. You like them here tonight.
Yeah, you bring up those two games against Minnesota. That overtime game was one where the Bears were down 10 with less than 30 seconds left in that game, right? Yeah, one of the wild comebacks, and the Bears got the ball first in overtime and did nothing with it, and it managed to lose 30-27. And then, like you said, second game makes a little more sense at U.S. Bank Stadium. Tough environment, high-end defense. Williams struggled. Look, this game's going to tell me a lot. And I don't like overreacting to week one. It's a fool's errand with the way that this league is now, with the fact that unless you look as bad as Miami did. That's the only time where I'm willing to say, okay, we can take a lot from week one. But it's really hard when you have guys play limitedly in the preseason. And you come out of the gate and you have J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams playing a huge divisional game right out of the chute. It's really difficult. I like Chicago tonight. I think home field matters in this game. If this game was in Minnesota, I'd like the Vikings. But because this game's in Chicago on the road, big-time crowd advantage for the Bears, even though it's been a little bit, from reports in Chicago, it's been a little bit funky this offseason of the excitement. But how could you not be for Monday Night Football, new head coach, second year with Caleb Williams, and a division that with the way the Lions looked last night, you have to feel pretty good about your prospects as a potential playoff team if the Lions are going to go backwards a little bit this year. But in the end, I like the Bears. I got them on the money line. I'm not going to bother with the points. We'll take the short money line price on Chicago, and I like them to win tonight. The total, I have no idea. If you told me this game was 28-24, sure. If you told me this game was 21-20 and it stayed under, sure. I have no idea what to expect out of Chicago's defense tonight with a new look coordinator, even though the players are pretty similar to what it was a year ago, even with a few small moves here or there. But in the end, I like Chicago. I like them on the money line, Alex. And we'll go through some player props in a moment here. But I do like the Bears to win this game and go to 1-0.
Total, I'm confused as well. My total's 42. My dad's a little bit higher. He's closer to 46, but not really a big enough difference to jump on either side.
Slice it in the middle and get the total you got right now.
Yep, that's it. So I would almost lean to the under with the 12-3 with the unders so far this weekend. And what was it, 11-1 yesterday? That doesn't make that doesn't
there were two overs. There were two overs yesterday. There's been 3 on the week.
That's right.
Brazil game went over. Jets and Steelers went over, and then obviously the 81-point bonanza in Buffalo went over last night. So that was it. There were only 3 overs yesterday. I did think that there was going to be a chance that the offenses were more ahead than usual this year.
We did see
especially
more people
what we saw in
preseason.
the preseason. That was absolutely not the case yesterday, where it was under City, and it was favored City mostly yesterday as well. All right,
We didn't get there with the Raiders, though. I know that was your top pick. It was my top pick as well.
That was, in what is a rarity. I did a lot of things right yesterday, where I moneylined the Raiders but took the 3 with the Jets as opposed to moneylining the Jets. It's nice to have extra. Not nice to see the Jets lose, but it was nice to have extra money in the pocket. Raiders sputtered a little bit, but were very impressive in the second half. Pete Carroll's coaching staff really showed up large in that second half, totally out-coaching Vrabel's staff in that second half. All right, let's go to some player props here. Let's start with the quarterbacks here tonight, who, again, this is game 1 of year 2 for Caleb Williams. It's game 1, period, even though it's technically year 2 for J.J. McCarthy. Of course, he is making his first career NFL start after being injured all of last year. Alex, I think, it's hard with Minnesota, right? Where they don't have a true number 1 running back. It's going to be Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones in that backfield tonight. But if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm relying heavy on those big-time running backs.
Yes.
No Jordan Addison. Of course, he's suspended three games for conduct detrimental to the league. But I would be very careful on betting McCarthy props over tonight. And then on the Viking skill position player-wise, I would be very careful. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the split's going to be on the Aaron Jones-Jordan Mason split, so I'd be careful on Jones props. Jefferson has a nagging injury that has been hanging around, even though he seems to be close to 100% if he's not 100%. And then your favorite Adam Thielen is back in purple and gold here. That might be the angle to look, even though 2.5 over is -160. Nice juice on that for Thielen here tonight, back in purple and gold.
Hey, I like it. That would be the only way I would look. And you saw it with the Panthers. I mean, they desperately were missing him offensively. He was Bryce Young's favorite target last year, and I could see it starting off kind of being a security blanket here for J.J. McCarthy. How about over on half an interception?
Ryan, throw the QBs back up there real quick. -120 on the over. I don't mind it.
I don't
mind it.
either.
We know the Bears are ball hawk more so than anything. It's part of the reason they give up big plays. Don't mind it. Don't mind it at all on that. But boy, I would every other one. You could justify going over 34.5 on the longest completion. You can justify that. Just sort of the nature of the Bears defense, and also you have Justin Jefferson. He can break a 40-yard play at a blink of an eye. So tough on the props ends on the Minnesota side. On the Chicago side of things, I am very interested to see how this looks tonight for the Bears. And by the way, just throwing this out there, this will be the only talk of the fantasy football team I have this week. I am leading by 47.5 points, and the opponent has DeAndre Swift. So if DeAndre Swift's ever going to have a huge game, it's going to be tonight just because of that. I say that partially in jest, but not really.
Well, I was already going to say he's reunited with Ben Johnson.
Yes, he is. But I will say this, because Ryan McCormick, we were having discussions with our guy Ryan McCormick all summer long, and he is super high on Roma Dunze coming into this year. And I'm just curious, Alex, does Roma Dunze at some point actually become the number 1 target over DJ Moore in this offense? And it's not a slight of Moore. That's just how much we think of Roma Dunze. Yeah. I wonder if this is a big night for him tonight. That would be the guy I'd look to attack on the Chicago end of things. If you're looking to play overs, over 49.5 on the receiving yards, you could get a plus price on over 4.5 receptions. But this could also be just one big pop for Dunze, and it ends up being like 3 for 60 or something like that. I like the over 49.5 receiving yards more than the receptions here tonight.
I don't hate it, and I would like to see a big year for Roma Dunze. Of course, both of them drafted in the same class, him and Caleb Williams. And you want to see him grow here together, and I could see him becoming the number 1. On the Swift side, I'm kind of intrigued by that plus 102 with over 2.5 receptions, although 2 feels just about right. But we know that with Ben Johnson's offenses in the past, we have seen that with the running backs as well. So that's all I really look at here. It's really tough to go with the brand new offense we're seeing in Chicago, and then a rookie quarterback to go with any Player props.
On the Caleb Williams side of props, just real quick, I never mind taking the interception prop, just knowing what he is. Don't mind that over half an interception. I also kind of like the anytime touchdown at plus 475 on Caleb, just because I wonder, because Ben Johnson, like Jared Goff can't run, can't move. He's a classic pocket quarterback. And I just wonder if with Caleb's ability to use his legs, do we see more of that with a Ben Johnson offense now where there's more creativity? His disciple Tanner Engstrand yesterday in New York, look at how well Justin Fields played yesterday. The Jets were run heavy and used the quarterback run a ton. I just wonder if that's a little bit more of a thing here. And that also would lead me to Caleb Williams rushing props here tonight, where he's 25 plus yards is plus 104 at DK. So that means his regular rushing yards has to be like 22 and a half. Yeah, exactly what it is. I would look potentially, again, there's always the scariness. Hey, if the Bears are up at the end, does Caleb Williams lose like 10 yards on kneel downs at the end? But I would be something I would be intrigued. I don't know. I would be a little more tepid with it. But because of the nature of the creativity we know Ben Johnson has, he didn't have that ability to do it in Detroit because Goff can't run. But could you do it with Caleb Williams? Hell yeah, you could, because of the way he's mobile.
Looking at his numbers in that first game against them, 33 yards in the first game against the Vikings for Caleb Williams. But you're right. I think they could scheme up some better plays there to use him more in dual threat role.
A lot of unknown tonight, Alex, but what I think will be produced at a bare minimum, no pun intended, that this will be a fun game to watch, and we both like Chicago here tonight if we're talking about the traditional sense of things. All right. We'll take a quick break when we get back. We're not going to forget about you, baseball. We won't forget about you. We got 11 games on the card. We'll quick hit them to the end of the program here today. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. The trivia question is live. The chat is live. The poll is live. It's all live here on Sports by the Book here this morning. I'm Jeff Parles. She's Alex White. By the way, Alex, no one has gotten the trivia question right yet. So we might get a victory. We might have a victory for our guy Vince today. Looking to get on the board in September. Vince just gave me just the most perfect look there. That was perfect there, Vince. Still got time. JR and Nick mano a mano through the first week. Nick with a 3-2 lead over JR. But hey, if it's someone other than those two, it's still good too. We haven't had a non-JR Nick winner in a while. So.
And not to mention, I mean, the bet for the time it takes to answer the trivia is like.
Oh, I mean, we're way over right
now.
The over is a big shout. By the way, Attila gave you a shout for 4 on the whiteboard on Friday. And Alex White, the superstitious person she is, in the middle of a break earlier, show everybody what you had to go get. So on the whiteboard, we have the fat marker that I have in my hand, and we have the skinny markers that Alex has in her hands. And Alex went 4-0 with the skinny marker on Friday. So we're running it back with the skinny marker on Alex's whiteboard.
First time ever using the skinny marker, too, for the whiteboard. So I had to go ask Vince if I could please use it again today.
Oh, and as you should. Keep it. It's a hot marker over there, to say the very least. 4-0 to kick off on Friday. All right, let's get to some baseball. Quick hitters here on a Monday. Let's start in Miami. Washington and Miami Marlins got swept by these Nats last week. Now they see each other again for the second time in 3 series. Cavalli and Junk, your pitching matchup, -30 on Junk, +15 on Cavalli. The total, as will be the theme on these lower card games, not a ton of action on these games. Yeah. Total just moved 5 cents, and the sides has not moved since Chris put them up last night.
I just don't really know what I'm missing here with this, with the Nats being the underdog. I mean, I know neither of these teams are very good, but the Marlins, I mean, they have not been playing good baseball. There was a chunk in time when we were saying they were still really competitive, but it hasn't been the case. Now, I know Junk is 6-2 record-wise, but we haven't seen him since August 23rd, so curious to see how he looks with his first start coming back. Cavalli, on the other side, has one really bad start against the Yankees, and I'm not going to take too much from that. So I like the dog in this one. I think the Nets actually have the advantage in most areas. It might be the bullpen that could be a little scary here with them or the Marlins, but I like the Nets +115 here in this first game.
Nothing. This will be the theme for me on this card. If anything, tiny, small bets, but nothing on this game. Again, I'm a little surprised the Marlins are that big of a favorite, but you know what? The well is poisoned on my look at the Marlins because they play the Mets so well, Alex. Speaking of the Mets, let's go to Philadelphia. So with all the hoopla with the Mets sweeping the Phillies 2 weeks ago, it's right back to what it was. Phillies have gained 3 games on New York since that series ended, so it's back to 7. The NL East, for all intents and purposes, is done. And the Phillies now just trying to hold off L.A., who finally won a baseball game yesterday against the Orioles. What happened on Saturday night was one of the sickest things of all time. Yamamoto carries legitimately a no-hitter to 8 2/3. And the Dodgers managed to lose the game in the 9th inning.
Yes.
Yamamoto gives up a homer to Henderson. They pull him. The bullpen implodes. But the Dodgers finally won that. Nolan McLean, who has been absolutely stellar so far for the Mets in his first few major league starts, and was stellar against the Phillies 2 starts ago, 8 shutout innings against Philadelphia and New York, goes against Aaron Nola, who has been thoroughly unimpressive all year, but has really struggled in first innings since coming back, has given up 4 earned runs in the last 2, at least 4 earned in the last 2 starts in the first inning. Mets are favored here on the road at -120. Total of 9. Alex, the total's the only way we can look at this game, right?
It is. It definitely is. I think I like one more over more than this one, but it's a strong lean to the over. And maybe the Mets could get their self against Aaron Nola. I've been trying to make a case for him, saying that he's getting better, but his last 2 starts, I mean, gave up 4 to Atlanta and 6 to Milwaukee. The Mets have been one of the best offenses, so definitely like that side of it. It's just a question of whether the Phillies can get to Nolan McLean this time. I made a case that he had seen offenses that weren't as good, so the Phillies could get to him the first time. They could not. He pitched 8 innings scoreless against them. So now they're back at home. They are better at home, so it just leans to the over here at 9. I don't love it, though, but it is a lean here.
Phillies, by the way, at home, 45-23. That is the least amount of losses for any team in the majors at home this season. So they have been tremendous. They don't have the most wins. They haven't played as many games as some other teams, but they have the least amount of losses at home. NL wildcard standings, Mets have a 4-game lead on San Francisco, who missed a golden opportunity the last 2 days, losing the last 2 in St. Louis, when the Mets were losing the last 2 in Cincinnati. Reds are 4 back as well. Diamondbacks and Cardinals 4.5 out. Again, the Mets with 19 to go just have to avert a crisis at this point, and they should be good to get into the postseason. All right, up next, let's go to Atlanta. Cubs won a series against the Braves last week. Now they do it here in Atlanta. Imanaga and Elder, your pitching matchup. Both of these guys saw the opposing team last week. Total's 8.5 on this one. I'm surprised Imanaga is this short of a favorite in this game, in all honesty, Alex. Would have expected this to be closer to minus 140. Again, $1.15 on the Cubs here.
Market really is not fond of the Cubs right now and how they have played in the last month or so. I think that this is such a good price on the Cubs, but I'm not going to take it either because kind of gotten snake bit by them as well. I like the over in this one. You just mentioned it. Both pitchers saw these lineups, and Bryce Elder pitched the game of his season. 7 innings pitched, scoreless, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, and no walks in that one against the Cubs. I think they can get to him this time around. On the other side, Imanaga even gave up 3 earned runs on 6 innings pitched. So 8.5, I think that's pretty low. I think its number should be 9.5. Full run difference there. So I definitely like the over in this one too.
Let's go to San Francisco next. And this is an important series to stay alive in that wild card chase. Both Arizona and San Francisco are, again, 4 in 19 games is really hard. 4.5 in 20 games is really hard. But they're still technically alive here, and they're playing each other 6 times down the stretch. Logan Webb against Chris Smith. Not a surprise that Webb is a big favorite at minus 180 in this one with a total of 7.5 at Oracle Park tonight.
Pretty crazy that this that the Diamondbacks are making a run like this.
Well,
after
they blew an opportunity yesterday to be the closest team. They were leading in the 7th inning last night against Boston.
They are playing good baseball. I mean, that's the only thing that would really keep me off of it. I do like to back Logan Webb at home, and the Giants are still making a push too, but I don't want to do anything here with that price. It's just too juicy of a price here, and I don't really trust Chris Smith on the other side to do anything with the total. So this one's a pass for me. You did skip one ahead of it with you, Darvish.
Oh, I totally, I did, and I shouldn't have skipped that one. I apologize. We'll circle back to it here. The Padres and the Reds. San Diego, boy, this kind of feels like the what if for the Padres because they had that awful series against Baltimore. They lose the first game in Colorado. They at least win the last 2, so they pick up a game on the Dodgers. But, boy, when the Dodgers go 1-5 in a week, you would have hoped that if you're the Padres, especially with Orioles and Rockies, you would have been in first place by the end of the week. They're not. 1 game back. Reds, again, as we mentioned, on the cusp here, 4 games behind New York. They do have the tiebreaker on the Mets, so if they somehow ended up tied, they would win the wild card over New York. But Lodolo and Darvish. Lodolo had to get pushed back a few days because of illness last week, Alex. Minus 140 on San Diego.
I think the Reds is the correct side here. We know how good the Padres bullpen is, though. I would just stay away from that and jump in with the Reds first 5 plus 115 here at the South Point. You know my rule, though. I don't bet for or against the Reds. So I think that is the correct side, though. First 5, I think they can play well here. You, Darvish, very inconsistent. So giving up 2 starts ago against Seattle in Seattle, and then he gave up 3 to the Orioles. So I think the Reds can put a few, if not just be ahead by 1 there in the first 5.
This is a 9-game road trip starting today for the Reds. Ooh. San Diego, Sacramento, and St. Louis. Again, the last 2 teams aren't overly imposing, but this is their second West Coast swing in 4 weeks. That's a brutal schedule for the Reds. We knew this going into the second half anyway, but very, very difficult. All right, let's go to L.A. Dodgers, without a determined starting pitcher, are nearly $4 favorites against Colorado tonight. And the Rockies' most talented starters going tonight, and Chase Dollander. Minus 350 on L.A., plus 290 on the Rockies. Do we have the fortitude to take the Rockies tonight, Alex White?
Ooh, that is tough. Looking at some of Dollander's road starts, though, he pitched really well against Houston. 1 earned run, 6 innings pitched for him. Pitched really well in St. Louis. 1 earned run, made it through 5 in that one. Maybe it would just be a shot at the first 5 here for the Rockies. I bet you could still get plus money getting half a run. So that's probably the best way to go with it here. I didn't really have anything circled because just that huge price on the Dodgers, and I don't want to lay the run line with the home team. It's
not as good of a price as I would have hoped first 5. It's only getting a 1.5 even on Colorado. Well, actually, wait a second. Hold on. I made a mistake. That's a really good price because you're getting a 1.5 in the first 5.
Crazy.
See, I got so confused. I'm like, oh, it's even money in the first 5. That seems to say, oh, it's a 1.5. So I don't mind that if you want to take a 1.5 first 5 even money on Colorado. That's at the Superbook. It's a 2.5 for the game, by the way. So over at Superbook. Wow. go to Cleveland next. Quick hitter here. Royals. Hey, Kansas City's still in things, Alex. They're still in this. And they throw Berger tonight, who's pitched pretty well.
Yes.
All things considered. He's a small underdog tonight against Ciccone. -10 on the Guards, -05 on Kansas City. 7.5 the total in Cleveland tonight.
I worry about Cleveland's bullpen. I know that they are definitely better than the Royals bullpen here, but I do like first 5 here for the Royals. This will definitely be a bet. -105. I think that's a great price with Berger going. Has not given up more than 2 earned runs in his last 5 starts. 3 of those, just 1 earned run. You know you can get him for at least 5 innings. On the other side, Ciccone scares me. I mean, it's not even just the runs, it's the hits. And it's 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. That's a good one there. But 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and 11 hits coming off of that against Boston. 7 earned runs in that one. So I like the Royals here. Still playing for their playoff hopes, and I think that's a pretty cheap price.
2 games behind Seattle entering today's action. Still in it. Going to need some help from the Mariners who return home, which I think the Mariners are very, very happy to be back in the Pacific Northwest. We'll get to that game in a few moments. All right, Alex, this is just for informational purposes in this one. Simeon Woods Richardson against Dana. Line hasn't moved. Angels are -120 against the Twins tonight. 9 to 9.5 on the total. So at least there have been some action on the total in this game, in this one.
I would only lean to the Twins here. I do think that Simeon Woods Richardson pitched better in his second start since coming back from injury. Went 5 against the White Sox, though. 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. I think he can keep it going here against the Angels lineup. So it would only be a play on the dog, but I don't really know much about Caden Dana on the other side, so I'm not going to jump in.
Let's go to the home of the Athletics for now, West Sacramento. Morales and Garrett Crochet tonight. Red Sox with a big win yesterday in Arizona to avoid being swept. Still only a game and a half behind the Yankees for that top wild card in the AL. Crochet's a big favorite coming off a bad start his last time out. Really, his one bad inning his last time out against Cleveland. -170 with a lower total for Sacramento at 9.
Yeah, that's because Morales has been really good since starting here up for the Athletics. Don't think he's given up more than 2 earned runs. So it's tough. It should be a good pitching duel. I would wait and see. It looks like money is coming in on the Red Sox from -160 to -170. So you're getting +155. I've got it -145. So if I could get +165, I'd jump in here with the dog.
Wind's blowing out tonight in Sacramento to center, but it's only 73 degrees at first pitch. So it's much cooler than it's been, but the wind is in your favor if you want to go over. And Crochet did give up a bunch of gopher balls his last time out against the Guardians. All right, let's go to Arlington next. The Rangers are the team that's closest to the Mariners in the wild card standings. Game and a half behind, but really it's 2.5 because the Mariners own the Rangers in the regular season. Texas has to be a game ahead of Seattle if they were to make the playoffs over the Mariners. Latz and Quintana tonight as Quintana goes for the team still with the best record of Major League Baseball, and the Milwaukee Brewers, who've extended their lead out to 7.5 yet again in the National League Central. This has just been bouncing on the total from 8.5 under to now 8.5 over. Milwaukee's a -120 favorite in this one.
I would lean there to the under. Jacob Lutz has been pretty good here for the Rangers, but I'm actually going with the side here, and it's not this team that I've been on since the All-Star break here. I like the Brewers, -120, and I actually did take them a couple times last week on the road, cheap prices. They were one of my Friday bets, actually. I think you go right back to it. Jose Quintana has been very consistent for this team. He has one bad start in there against the Diamondbacks, who is a very good offense, and I think a scarier offense than this Rangers offense without Corey Seager. So I think Brewers is the right side here. Kind of worried about the pitching matchup, but I think that Milwaukee can do enough to get the win.
All right, last one up. Let's go to Seattle as the Mariners welcome in the Cardinals. Miles Mikolas, Brian Wu, your pitching matchup. Brian Wu finally didn't go 6 innings in a start. That streak snapped in Tampa. So it's a big price, though, Alex. -220. That is a huge price on Seattle. I don't know. You know my thoughts on Mikolas. I like going against him, but wrong ballpark. Price is bad. I'm going to steer clear of this game.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to be on the Mariners one way or another. I think there's a huge pitching advantage, but Michaelis is coming off 2 really good starts, 11 innings pitched, 2 earned runs total in the 2 starts, but both of those were at home. But it is here in Seattle. So, yeah, this is a complete stay away for me.
That's the baseball card. Quick hitters here today on Sports by the Book. All right, before we get out of here today, let's get the poll and the trivia and the whiteboard here on a Monday. Let's start with the poll. Which bet are you taking tonight for the Bears and the Vikings? And 55% of the vote agrees with us on the Bears plus the 1.5, Alex, which that's a majority, which I hope you guys are right. Hope we're right on that one here tonight with the Bears plus the 1.5 against Minnesota. Watch, Minnesota's going to win by a point, and my money line's going to lose, Alex. That's what's going to end up happening. Bears cover, but don't win as a 1.5 point underdog. I am confident, though, in Chicago. As confident as I ever can be in the Bears.
Yeah, no, they got a shot here. I mean, we'll see what J.J. McCarthy's got. But going on the road, I mean, just with that alone, I think you got to lean to Chicago, and it looks like most people that follow us are.
All right, the trivia question today. On this date in 2002, the Houston Texans had their inaugural game as an expansion team. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 19-10 in what was a huge deal at the time, 23 years ago. What's the only other expansion team since the 1970 merger that won their inaugural game? Now, Vince, I got a question for you. Did anyone claim that this team was not an expansion team in the chat? Okay, so since the AFL-NFL merger, the Ravens won their inaugural game in 1996 as the Memorial Stadium. They beat the Raiders, who were in Oakland at the time. JR got it right. The Bucks, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and the Jaguars were the only other teams added to the league who did not get it. Also, the Cleveland Browns, when they were re-added to the league, did not win their first game back. So JR gets the win on this one, and evens Nick on the scorecard of 3-3 for the month. Ravens did inherit the Browns roster at the time, but they inherited none of the Browns history, which stayed in Cleveland for the reincarnation of the new Browns, who have been horrible since they've come back into the lead, the least successful team in the NFL since coming back in a few years later after Art Modell famously moved them.
Very good. We're talking about the Ravens again, huh?
Alex, you got a full board here for a Monday.
I do. I have 5 plays again. Went down in my unit size here for baseball, and probably until we get to playoffs, because playoffs is going to be tough as well. But so 5 that I really like. I'm going with the dog here in the Nationals against the Miami Marlins. I just think they should be a slight favorite on the road even. I'm put both overs because one of them's getting there. One of them might be a dud here. Mets and Phillies, they play each other in over games a lot. So we're going over the 9 there, even though the rookie has been great. Aaron Nola has really struggled. On the other side, Cubs and Braves are going over that 8.5 with Bryce Elder and Imanaga on the mound. Royals -105 first 5. Like the pitching advantage in that one with Ryan Berger. And then we're going Brewers -120 on the road against the Rangers.
That is a full card for Alex White here on a Monday. But as you said, it's a little bit tougher in September. You're parsing it down on the unit size, so a little less of a risk here today, but full card for Alex on a Monday. I'm on Chicago tonight. I got him on the money line, and I'm going to figure out, I'll tweet him out later. I'm going to figure out my props on Caleb Williams, because I am going to take some Caleb Williams props. I just got to figure out what I exactly want to do tonight, but I'll tweet those out at Jeff Parles a little bit later. So if you're interested, and if I forget to tweet them, just tweet at me. I'll see your tweet of complaint, and we'll put them out there then.
There you go. I might take interception for both quarterbacks.
I would. You know what? If you get a book that allows you to parlay them, I wouldn't mind doing that either, Alex. Because I know some books don't let you do that with both quarterbacks in the same game. All right, there you go. That's been Sports by the Book here this morning. Shout out to our great crew: Vince, Drew Dog, and Jerry, Ryan, Sean on his off day. Unbelievable crew that we have here as always. Alex, big thanks to Chris as well. We're going to see Chris every Monday. Big thanks to you, as always, Alex. You and I are back tomorrow. Our college football power rankings will be coming on a Tuesday. And I'm going to tell you, I got a glimpse of both of our rankings as of yesterday. You and I both have new number ones, but they're not the same team. That's the tease for tomorrow on the power rankings. So be on the lookout for that here on the show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. right here on Sports by the Book. She's Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you then. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio, live as always from the South Point Hotel and Casino here in lovely Las Vegas.